go. Expand the footprint. It's a national partnership. Just keep getting. Actually. Bless you.
And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Leading of it led by Riley Flint.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the first snowy night of November and the first regular meeting of the Village Ballston Spa Board of Trustees here on November 10th, 2025. Let's go to the minutes. Can I get a motion that the minutes of the October 27, 2025 regular board meeting be approved?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fandesa?
I'll second.
Trustee Price-Bush, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that the minutes of the October 27, 2025 special meeting be approved?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fandesa?
I'll second.
Trustee Price-Bush, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No presentations, public comment on agenda items only, 3 minutes per speaker. Liz, your hand went up so fast, but let me finish my spiel. This is for just agenda items, as you know. We do have 2 walk-ons tonight that I should tell you about. First is to allow for the use of Union Fire Company facilities for the annual Thanksgiving dinner throughout the week of November 24th. And this was not presented to us, but obviously timing-wise, we need to get this one done now. And then the other one was one I sent to the board today concerning approving payment to Sutphin Corporation for $936,854 for the custom Sutphin pumper, which is to be delivered this or next week, and the payment is required for delivery purposes. So those will be up there too.
And the other agenda item that I'd like to add is zoning under old business, as I requested before the deadline and was left off, but it should be on there. So when we get to old business, I appreciate that being an agenda item. Thank you.
Okay, we have one hand on Zoom already. You want to go there?
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike, go ahead.
You're gonna have that?
Are we muted is the question.
No, we're good. Audio and video.
What's the hand thing say up there? I can't read it.
Oh, that's just his hand raised.
No, I mean in the middle there, right there.
Mike Kouchi raised his hand.
Oh, okay. It's pretty easy.
He shouldn't have a problem.
Hmm.
Ask to unmute. Unmute.
Maybe you raise it by accident.
All right, well, if he wants to, I can unraise it, and if he wants to come back, he can.
Yep, okay, we'll go back to the house here. Good thing we did it first, so then at least we can resolve it. Liz?
Liz Cormos, 89 Hyde. I'd first off like to say I support motion H on the good cause eviction law. I think it's a fair law that basically only punishes landlords that charge too much. On the item that Ben just added, comments on zoning recommendation. I believe the new zoning should reflect what residents want to see with new replacement and new development. It should reflect the majority of current conditions. I did an analysis of the current conditions using the assessment database and found that the majority of residents in the single-family zone, with the exception of Colonial Hills, Fairground Hill, Chesterwood, and Kaleen Drive, have lots from 5,600 to 9,500. All these areas are similar, and I suggest the lot size much larger than the existing one of about 7,500 with 50-foot frontage. The minimum lot size of 4,000 square feet is too small and would allow subdivision of a significant number of homes with larger than 50-foot frontages. A third of the lots in my neighborhood are in Malta, a quarter in the Ballston area, and a third in the north end have more than 100 feet frontage. That means they could be subdivided. So with the 4,000 square foot. The lots on the suburban style lots, the Colonial Hills, Fairground Hills, Chesterwood, Kaleen Drive are larger, and the 10,000 square foot limit there makes sense, and they have larger frontages, so somewhere around 70 feet. So they're really distinct between those two types of homes. In order to encompass what currently exists in the 1B zone, the code should allow two-family homes by special permit. I think the way to handle that is the size of the building, as I think has been suggested, and the requirement that one unit be occupied by the owner. So that way you don't get corporations coming in and converting single-family homes to two-family homes, but you do add affordable housing to our village without disrupting the character of the village. Also, there should be design guidelines for the non-residential, so it matches what's there. I agree with Ben when he says the nursing home and county property should be zoned R2, which allows for smaller lots and a 40-foot frontage, and allow multiple residential buildings, but cap the number of units in a single building and go no higher than 3 stories. I believe we should allow ADUs in existing structures and only if
10
they're
seconds.
occupied. I'll finish it later. Thank you.
So we have a Mike Iacolucci resolution yet.
Mike Iacolucci is not raised his hand again, but Genevieve Rand has raised her.
Okay. Genevieve.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. My name's Genevieve. I am the organizing director at an organization called Housing Justice for All. So we are like a statewide organization and coalition of tenant organizations and like service providers and things in the tenant and homelessness space. And we've worked on good cause at the state level and at city levels in lots of parts of the state for many years now. This is a bill that in short says if you follow the rules of your lease and you pay your rent, you get to stay in your apartment. I think a lot of people who aren't tenants don't realize that right now, every tenant, if they're like going to speak up about like a repair issue in an apartment or something, they have to worry that they might just get their lease renewal denied without any explanation. Right now, people can be evicted for no reason. And there are plenty of landlords who like don't do that, who treat tenants well and like don't price gouge or don't like kick people out for speaking up about things. But right now they're being outcompeted in a market by people who do like squeeze every last dollar and like can be unscrupulous actors. And this helps bring that behavior into line so that everybody gets treated well. I think that this is something that like the reason that this has passed in over 20 municipalities around the state at this point is because we get pretty broad agreement from lots of different like groups of people that the tenants should be rewarded for following the rules, that if you like pay your rent and follow your lease, that it is good if you get to stay, and that people shouldn't be evicted for no reason. This also means that like people can rely on that if they pay the rent and follow their lease, then they know they'll be able to stay in their same neighborhood for a long time. And we have seen reflected in lots of data that when people's tenures are longer, when there is less evictions, that like crime rates go down, that people are more likely to settle down and to like have children and start families. And in general, people are paying like larger and larger shares of their income towards housing than at any point in history. And turnover for tenants is really, really high, which homeowners in neighborhoods don't like either. So this is a way to like stabilize the housing market, make sure that people are treated fairly, both in terms of their lease renewals and their rent increases. And like a real estate lobby, like they shop around the state, like a talking point thing that's like, this makes it so people can't raise rent. That's not true. It just says that if you're going to raise rent more than 5% above inflation, you have to be able to show that that goes along with actual costs that are increasing for your business. And as long as you show that, that's fine to do. And then in conclusion, I would say that this is like a thing that a lot of legislators that I talk to are like, oh, well, this could have like unintended consequences. This is now like, we're in our 2.5 year of implementation. Lots of other states have this, lots of other countries have this. And it's a pretty common sense stability measure that would be really good for the 40 or so percent of residents of Ballston Spa that are tenants. Oh, and one last thing, there's a provision in the bill that,
Time's up. Your time's up.
oh, okay.
Thank you. Okay, staying on Zoom for a sec.
Yep, I've got my guy.
You got him back?
I hope.
Mike, take two.
Hey, good evening. I hope you can hear me this time.
We can, go ahead.
I apologize for my technical inefficiency earlier, and thank you for your participation. 3 Encore Drive is my just a couple of quick questions on 2 different motions. 7J relating to John Street water tank. I understand that there are 3 payments of roughly $360,000 due for the work to be done. There also appears to be a bill for a change order for approximately $42,000. I was just curious when that is payable, and also if you could give us an update or just a review of the planned timetable for work on the water tank. And then, excuse me, with respect to motion 7N, the HSA, there were several pages of information in the material for the meeting, and I just wanted to ask what fee is being proposed, and in addition to the annual fee for maintaining, what other fees, if any, will be assessed? Thank you.
Yeah,
It's hard to understand, Mike.
Right, and I don't have to clean that
Oh.
up.
Okay.
Sorry.
Can I?
Then.
I don't know. Can you hear me at all?
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to cover both pieces one more time, Mike, because I got part of what you said in the first one and nothing on the second one.
Okay, I'll try to abbreviate. On John Street water tank, a change order for approximately $42,000. Just when will that be payable? And could you provide kind of an update of the time frame or a review of the timeline for work on the tank? And then the second one was 7N. Just there was a lot of material online about the firm WEX, and I just was not clear what the fee is that is being contemplated and whether beyond the annual fees there's any other costs. Thank you.
Just to give you the quick answers, the change order is going to be due in a future payment if it's going to be covered by the carriers. The exterior painting is supposed to be next year. Once we can get the equipment off, we're working to get those last pieces done so that we can get that work done. Also, I think AT&T is ordering the monopole as we speak, so that hopefully usually has about a 6-month lead time, but it could be a little quicker this time of year. And the WEX situation is a replacement of our current HRA system, so it's basically almost, I think, identical pricing, but we had a very bad experience with our current HRA in terms of locking cards for minutia or for just not legitimate reasons. And so after trying to work it out with them and not resolving it, we were looking to change course at this point for our health insurance carrying employees. Hopefully that gives you good insight. John?
Is the zoning back on, is that on the agenda?
Yeah, you can talk. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just pick up 2 things.
Name and address before anything else.
John Comey, 132 Bath Street, Ballston Spa, New York. In reference to zoning, the historic district overlay. Does not have the Verbeck house on it. The current statute says 220 Church Avenue. It was read apparently as up to, but it's really to and including. So when the overlay is produced again, if you would just extend that to 20 Church Avenue, that would be fantastic.
20 Church, what number? What was the number?
20 Church Avenue,
20,
Verbeck house.
okay.
I'm also glad to see that the mapping shows the suburban areas being treated separately, they should. The other area that concerns me is the green space, or the, what is the green space, includes the cemetery. There is nothing in the charts that talks about what the uses are for that space, which means nothing can be done. So I think that has to be addressed in some way. In addition, I would like you to think about putting the fairgrounds in that same area, same space, zoning it that way, and to have in the uses, the type of uses that the fairground would have. So that the cemetery becomes legal and it's not just governmental uses in those areas. Now, I want to again mention the master plan had suggested a transition zone for the downtown around Bath Street, and Lower Malta Avenue. That was to allow home businesses that would sort of supplement and complement the downtown. I think it's very important to really give that consideration. And it also extended over to the flats on Milton Avenue around St. Mary's Church, because those are all residences. They're not truly businesses. And those residences may transition to business, but they are not truly within in a business context at this point. And that transition zone allows such a allows that to happen, as was contemplated in the master plan. As you may have mentioned, I've mentioned in the past, I'm opposed to the cluster developments in Ballston Spa, and when you think about it, based upon the context of Ballston Spa and the statute, I don't think it's authorized to have Ballston Spa to have cluster zones, because the authorization in the state legislation is to preserve vistas, and there are no real vistas to be preserved. Therefore, if anybody tries to do a cluster zone in Ballston Spa, they're going to be automatically subject to attack on that particular ground.
15 seconds, John.
I want to end up with the good cause eviction. I've been involved in evictions for over 50 years. Only 2 I have been able to do with showing that there's a violation of a lease, and both of them have failed because the only witnesses can be tenants. And tenants don't like testifying against other tenants.
Time's up, Jeff. Thank you. Here, back to Zoom.
Karen Nevner.
Okay. Karen, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Karen Evanarius, 10 East High Street. I just wanted to talk about that eviction law. I don't know exactly what it's all about, but being a landlord, I know I shared this before. My parents, my in-laws having apartments as small units, and having to evict people that have done damage to our apartments and not paying for months and months on end, and you're using that to help pay the mortgage on your property. It is really hard to evict people when they're not paying the rent, and even when you're working with them to make payments. So to create this law to make it harder for landlords to evict somebody, the only time we've ever evicted people is if it's been 6 months or they've done damage and they aren't paying anything. And it is a long process to go through. So I think it's a very sticky situation that you could be getting into by creating this law. I guess I could see if we were large corporations that owned big apartment complexes, but your average person who owns some apartments do not want to evict anybody. We want the people to stay for as long as possible. And we love our tenants and they become part of our family. And I feel like a lot of people that I know that are landlords feel the exact same way. So we really am concerned about this proposal because it is so difficult to evict a tenant, it is really hard. So it's not something easy that you can go through, and it costs a lot of money for a landlord to go through this whole process. So thank you very much. I hope you'll look into that a little bit more.
Thanks, Karen. Marilyn?
Marilyn Stevenson, 45 West High Street. I wanted to ask a question or a couple of questions about motion 7M. I looked through the attachments and did not see an invoice or a plan of work explaining or detailing what exactly the consultant was going to be doing for this proposed extra work. So I'm just wondering if that information is available. And as of today, I would like to know the total amount of dollars that the village has paid to the consultant to date. I also wanted to ask a question about motion 7H. Does the good cause eviction law pertain to hotels, bed and breakfasts, and Airbnbs? And just a comment on the solicitation applications for SLIC. I do think that 8 o'clock in the evening is a very late hour for some business, any business, regardless of who they are, to go door to door, knocking on doors, soliciting business. And I just, maybe it's too late in the stage of application now, but I think the trustees ought to reconsider that. I think, there's other ways for SLIC to be conducting business, a temporary pop-up office downtown on Front Street, a special event to solicit business, but I think door-to-door is a little bit sketchy, especially this time of year. Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice. No sale. Anybody need anything removed from the consent agenda? Hearing nothing, can I get a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
I make the motion.
Trustee Condenza.
A second.
Trustee Price Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Get my voice ready because we got a few here. Can I get a motion to approve the design and installation of a fencing wrap for screening at 2013 Doubleday Avenue and 2017 to 2019 Doubleday Avenue while the site is being remediated? The wrap is to be paid for with funds from the BOA grant and managed by Labella.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Condenza.
A second.
Trustee Price Bush, discussion.
Just a little explanation, it's to cover up the Ricketts site. We can use some of the funds from the BOA grant to shield that because it has an element of sort of like promotion, so it's able to be used that way. So I think at least we can have some screening. It won't be as offensive for the meantime, so that's what it's really for. So.
No offensive in the fencing?
I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't think anybody else wants to.
Yeah, check the fencing came up during a windstorm too, in part. I noticed when I was driving by there after I ate at Ted's the other day. I drove back and I'm like, ooh.
There should be some sort of either the material, I forget what the material is, either there'll be cutouts or the material allows for wind. So hopefully it won't be blowing all over Ballston.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Can I get a motion that SLIC Fiber be granted permission for 4 additional solicitor permits to solicit door-to-door from 11/12/25 through 11/20/25 from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is in addition to 2 previously authorized solicitor permits.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Raymond? I'll second it. Discussion.
I'm gonna vote no on this because I do agree that 8 o'clock is too late. I
You're
feel
placing
like,
door handles on that. I don't believe they're actually interacting.
but that's not on the application, is it? Where it specifies that?
I don't know if it's even.
I think personally, I would like us to look at that and maybe add some provision to not have people at their doors. I mean, you guys can vote however you want, but I voted no on the last one as well.
Are
So.
these youth, by the way? I'm trying to remember now if they're adult, because if they're trying to get school kids, some teams to do it as well to help provide funding, I think, to schools.
I get it. I just think 8, maybe 7's more appropriate. That's not what they're asking. I don't know that we can ask for that right now, but
Well,
for the future, it's just a thought.
I don't know. I mean, I understand you don't be bothered after a certain time. Most people are not necessarily, most people, though some are asleep, I guess, at 8 PM, could be disturbed that way. But in general, I think it's okay to have some social interaction in this community that includes potentially knocking on doors within a reasonable time periods. I don't think knocking on doors is an antisocial thing. I think people can not answer or tell someone to go away. I don't think it's has to be a big threat. So I don't think it's a big deal, I guess is what I'm saying, to knock on a door after dark, which is going to be the case whether it's 8 PM or 7 PM. I just feel like the society is so divided and scared of each other. I don't think it's a big deal for people. There's not a lot of solicitation happening. It's not like we're being overwhelmed by these requests. So I'm not as concerned as other people about the 8 PM, but I could also see going to 7 PM.
Yeah, I mean, I do think 8 PM is probably a later hour, but I can't say that I'm expressly opposed to it either. You said they were probably door hangers, or?
That's what I think the general trend they've been doing is, I don't know them actually making the interaction, unless someone's outside saying, hey.
I mean, they might knock on the door because if you don't get the door hanger pretty soon, it's down the street, but, I mean, if they're hanging door hangers and it isn't an aggressive sales pitch, I mean, I don't see a problem with it, so.
My thought is, I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
No, I agree that, I think this time of year, 8 o'clock is a little on the late side, being everyone kind of hunkers down once they get home. So do you think they would agree to 7?
Here's what I would think, it's 8 days, 9 days technically. If we approve this, I'm supposed to talk to Brad over at Slick anyway about maybe looking at getting some better internet for here and for the village offices anyway. So I'll discuss with him restricting hours for future solicitations so that they're at least aware of it ahead of time moving forward. So then if we get this again, we can say no without any reservation at that point. Would that be something you want to concede to?
You guys, sorry. Again, this is just a personal preference for me, so like you guys can vote however you think is appropriate. I just want to explain why I voted against it last time, the last application we had, and then this time. It's nothing against Slick, it's just late, again, this is just
What if it was
personal stance.
not so late?
I would just hope in the future they don't, or we either explicitly say in our code, please don't, we don't allow after a certain hour.
Well, can we just change it now? Just say 7 PM?
They applied. I don't think I think it's fine, like, because this is
I'll
what
get
they
them fixed in
applied.
the future is what I'm
but-
saying, so that at least we'll give them what they need for this one and for the 9 days they're gonna be doing it and then move forward.
Yeah, I mean, 9 to 6 probably would, start an hour earlier, you're only losing an hour of time then.
Now, do you post
But
on the
yeah, like you
website?
say.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
that there's going to be people soliciting,
Terry, have you, no?
On the website?
just to alert
Oh,
people?
that's Jen.
Yeah, no, we've never done it in the back.
Carl?
The application actually says that Slick will alert via Facebook post alerting residents that they'll be in the area.
So at least letting people know that they're legit in the zone.
And maybe we can encourage them to wrap it up around 7 or closer to 7, even though they got permission to go to 8,
I'll talk to Brad.
understanding that there's concerns.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I
Count 3 to 1, so no need for me to even vote. Motion carries. Can I get a motion approving the MOU between the Ballston Spa Public Library, Sal's, and Comfort Foods?
I make the motion.
Trustee Price Bush?
I'll second.
Trustee Baskin, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that the library be authorized to expend the amount of $1,655.50 for a walkthrough contamination assessment with ambient environmental?
I make the motion.
Trustee Price Bush, Trustee Fandesa, Discussion, hopefully they won't start doing it right now. All in favor?
Wait, sorry, didn't they do this?
No, but this is continuing work that they're doing at this point, so.
And they didn't finish their assessment. I thought they did assessment and now they're doing their work.
I believe that either this is a prior billing or for future work, that they have future work to do as well, then, because they're gonna be the ones watching the contractor we're gonna be asked to approve coming up.
Walk through contamination assessment. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the attached art projects for the Village of Ballston Spa fiscal sponsorship for the 2026 Saratoga Arts Re-Grant Program as recommended by the Ballston Spa Committee on the Arts and authorizing the mayor and village attorney to execute any final paperwork required?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
Second.
Trustee Baskin, discussion?
Just to give people a heads up, they're going to be reapplying, Octavia Huang and Maria D'Angelo have partnered with the village like last year. They've been doing like arts classes that are available to the public at a, affordable cost. I don't know if anybody's seen her sketches, but she does beautiful watercolor sketches. So she would like to partner with the village again. Kathy Hacker, who is on the Committee of Arts, she organizes Sounds of Summer and Sounds in Winter concerts, which get sold out or signed up right away. So I actually haven't been able to go to one of them. She's also going to apply again this year. And then we also, the BSBPA would like us to partner with them so they can get some funds for concerts in the park. So that's what they're focused on for this grant round. Again, it's something I work with Carla and Frank. I get the documents ready and we make sure they have it in time. So that's their projects for the upcoming year.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that the BSBPA be granted permission to conduct the annual holiday parade? The route is attached, and tree lighting in Wiswell Park on December 5th, 2025 from 6:30 p.m. until 8:45 p.m. Proof of liability insurance has been provided.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
I'll second.
Trustee Price Bush, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that the bid of Neoplanter Restoration Incorporated for $49,000 be accepted for the asbestos abatement at the Ballston Spa Public Library and authorizing the mayor to execute paperwork and/or an agreement consistent with this bid acceptance after review of the village attorney?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Price Bush, Trustee Raymond, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And is the library expected to close again?
Yes.
Do you know about when?
Not yet. Today's the first step, approving, so that we can tell the contractor we're doing it. Can I get a motion to have council for the village finalize the attached draft good cause eviction law in preparation for a public hearing on December 8th, 2025?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Baskin,
Second.
Trustee Raymond, discussion?
So I want to start by noting that the draft isn't on the attachments, which it should have been, so that people know what we're talking about, and as I requested. So this is basically, there's a law at the state level called good cause eviction law, and it requires, if municipalities are going to have this law in effect, they need to adopt it at the local level. So it's already written at the state level, and the law would just adopt it at the local level. And basically, I think one of the important things to say is that it does not make it any more difficult to evict tenants for good cause. So tenants who are not paying the rent, tenants who are damaging property, tenants who are breaking the lease, they can be evicted in the same manner as they are now. There's no more procedure or protocol that protects them against eviction. So the worries about not being able to evict tenants who are damaging property are not needed with this law because it does still maintain those rights of the landlord. This law, basically, the purpose is to there are landlords, and particularly they could be corporations, they could be out of town corporations who may be motivated to drastically increase rents. And the rent pressure and the housing price pressure in the United States is unprecedented. And so it is a real risk. As Genevieve mentioned, we are rents and housing are historically unaffordable levels. And so this provides some protection for tenants who may have families and want to continue to live in the community. As the speaker said, it improves stability, it decreases crime. Apparently, I haven't seen that, but based on what she said. And but certainly it would increase stability and allow people to stay in the same schools, contribute to their community, and become more active members in their community, because they know that their rent will not be raised too much. But even with this law, there's many protections for landlords. So landlords can still raise the rent, whatever the consumer price index is, plus 5% or 10%, whichever is lower. So they can still raise the rent above what the cost of living is, above what people's pay is increasing. So they can, there's no rent cap in this law. But if people are able to afford that newer rent, they have the right to, and they haven't broken the lease or done anything like that, they have then the right and the ability to continue in that home. It does exempt a lot of different types of housing. Units built within the last 30 years are exempt, starting from 2009. So newer housing exempt. Public housing units or units that are already covered by rent stabilization and regulatory agreements are exempt. Units rented from co-ops or condos or manufactured housing are exempt. And also units in owner-occupied buildings with fewer than 11 units. So, it's meant to protect tenants without causing an undue burden on landlords. You can still, again, get evicted for non-payment of rent, violating the lease. If the landlord wishes to recover the unit for personal use, if the tenant's causing a nuisance or violating the law, or if the owner intends to demolish or take the unit off the market. So they still have that ability. So that's why I support this. The list I sent to the board had 17 municipalities from throughout the state of various sizes, from village to large cities, and apparently another 3. So now there's 20 municipalities that have done this. New Jersey has had this law on the books for 50 years. It has not caused a reduction in housing. In fact, they've had more affordable housing and rents, increase in rental units than New York State in the last several years. So, so I think it's doable, workable, and fair and just. The number of people in our village who rent, it's over 50%, about 52% or something. It's about half, so it covers a lot of people. And again, it'll have no impact whatsoever on landlords who don't price gouge, basically. And it'll only help people who may want to stay in their community and are priced out. So that's why I encourage us to move forward with this law.
Just generally, I think New York State, had they thought this, the legislators that are majority, had they thought this was something that would have been beneficial for the entire state, they would have made it apply to every community, and they did not do that. They left it up to, local municipalities. And what might work for, I think that woman's from Ithaca or organizations for Ithaca, what might work there or, in the Hudson Valley doesn't mean that's necessarily going to work here. And I do think of, property owners, landlords like Karen and her husband. There's a lot of folks that are just people from the community that own these apartments. And it has been very difficult pretty much since COVID, just to kind of, to process, evictions in the first place. So, and to the point, we've heard many, at least at the state level, we've heard from many people, many small landlords that are really struggling. I would argue most do like to keep their tenants, and I think, where they are able, I know many people don't try to raise rent too much because they would rather keep a good tenant than to try to chase another dollar. So I don't think this necessarily works for Ballston Spa, and I'm going to vote no for that reason.
I guess everything that Ben said, and which is directly from the verbiage, there is nothing in this law that would indicate everything you said would be impacted at all. I used to rent. I used to be a property owner and I rented to people. And yeah, it can be difficult when you have to do an eviction, but it doesn't seem like it impacts that process whatsoever. So it's going to be exactly the same with the good eviction law as well as without. The only thing I see is if, for some reason there's some sort of unfair practices regarding increase in rent, or if they just want to not renew a lease because they want to get a person out even though they've been following the rules. It sounds like those are really the only two caveats where this law is any different from what we already have now.
Well, I think, since it is at a state level, it's already in existence, and I don't know if we really need to apply it here at the village level. And like Karen said, a lot of our landlords here are residents. They love the community. We don't have big corporations. They try to treat their tenants very fairly. I know from family members who have been landlords, it ends up the tenants have more rights than they did with their own property, and they've had people abandon their property, but yet the landlord still can't go in. So it's not, I know that's probably not common, but I think you need to kind of look out for landlords' rights too. So.
This is a compromise. That's why it wasn't mandated at the state level, is they had it go municipality by municipality as a compromise measure. But again, when there's bad tenants, they are able to get evicted just as they are now. And this law really isn't for the good landlords who love their tenants and are fair by them. This is for the bad actors. And not to imply there was a bad actor, but near my house, there's a duplex and the landlord raised the rent and the two tenants had to leave. I have no idea how much they raised the rent. I don't know anything about the details, but I do know they raised the rent, and so it happens. This is a landlord who lives outside the village, and there was a family there with little kids, been there for, good 7-8 years, and I don't know where they are, but they're gone. And it's too bad. But again, this doesn't keep people from raising the rent, but and I don't know the situation there, but it happens. And the more, we have these corporate takeovers of rental properties, which is what's happening, the more abuse we're going to have. So it's not for the good landlords, and it doesn't protect the bad tenants. So.
Yeah, I just think that this is also, for posterity. I mean, maybe the current situation now, this law may never get used. Even though it's enforced, it may never be implemented because the situation doesn't exist currently. But Ballston Spa, like every other village or any other municipality, is subject to change. And we may find in the very near future or farther along where this becomes very useful because, we don't know who's going to come in and purchase property, who's going to develop. And I would think we'd want to put some minor safeguards, for that eventuality.
Especially with the prices being so, pressing as they are, difficult for people to manage. Frank, what's your take?
I'm ready to go to vote.
Well,
Roll call.
do you have an opinion?
No vote?
Oh, okay.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Trustee Bondega?
No.
Trustee Price Bush?
No,
Trustee Baskin?
Yes.
Trustee Raymond?
Yes.
Mayor Lowski?
I'll abstain. It's still 2-2 that way, so.
Can you share your opinion as an elected official? I know you don't have to, but, just wonder, can you, there's some public interest to share what you're thinking about the law.
Would you like to get through the rest of the agenda in the 2-hour time limit or not? I mean, tonight.
Well, could you give us
The
2
motion
cents?
failed at this
Yeah.
point. So.
I know, but, people may want to know what your position is.
My position is, next motion. Yeah, motion to authorize to authorize the expenditure of up to $65 per member to attend upcoming NICOM planning and zoning webinars.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Condenza,
I'll second.
trustee Price Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to authorize the payment to USG Water Solutions of the 2025 payment of $361,935 for the work related to the John Street Water Tower and authorizing the mayor to execute the documentation related to the payment?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Condenza,
I'll second.
trustee Price Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the attached language interpretation services request for a quote for submission to the Office of Government Services for processing and authorize the mayor to sign any documents relating to the submission?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Trustee
second.
Baskin, trustee Condenza, discussion.
So this will help us get interpretation services, because that's been missing in the past, and it's through a state contract. Just to explain a little bit, the state has a shared contract that multiple agencies and municipalities can use, and this works with their process to get the, and they also have vendors who can't price higher than a certain level. So it's helpful to work through the state in that way, even though there's some paperwork involved.
Anyone else?
No, I'm glad it's moving forward, that we're getting these hopefully robust sort of offerings, but it's pretty standard, it seems like.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve Brian Thiem to fill an open position on the Committee for the Arts?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Baskin, trustee Condenza, discussion.
I'm happy he wants to join, and recently got a second person who may be interested in also participating, but welcome to Brian.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve an additional amount not to exceed $7,500 for the purpose of Fisher Associates to finish their work related to the village's amended zoning code and authorizing the mayor to execute any change in their retention agreement consistent with this additional amount?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee
Second.
Condenza, trustee Raymond, discussion.
Is there an agreement in the attachments?
There's no agreement. That was if there is a change, then I'll be able to sign.
So they'll basically just continue doing what they're doing. Do
Correct.
we anticipate any change in the agreement beyond?
I would assume it's the money, just the money, wouldn't you?
You've already done a change order for him once, so I assume he's just gonna use the same one. And
Just the
use
same
money.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
So, anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the administrative services proposal from WEX related to HRA services, including the estimated annual fees, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement related to the proposal after review by the village attorney?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Condenza,
I'll second.
trustee Price Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I've got 2 walk-ons, and actually, just remember, there's a third thing to talk about, possibly a motion. Essentially, that contract on Friday, right? Right now? But either way, I'll explain what's going on, and you can do it overnight, I guess. Can I get a motion to approve the request to use the Union Fire Company facilities for the annual Thanksgiving dinner throughout the week of November 24th?
Right. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so trustee Baskin, discussion, All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Got to get a motion authorizing the payment to Sutphen Corporation upon the preparation and delivery for the custom Sutphen pumper that was ordered in 2022 by the Village of Ballston Spa for a total of $936,854, and authorizing the mayor to sign any paperwork consistent with the necessary delivery and payment.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee
I'll
Fandesa,
second.
trustee Price Bush, discussion.
This is the same plan as has already been laid out,
Yep.
as intended.
Yep.
No changes.
Correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
When we're doing that much money, it really would be better to have it written out. It came late.
I got a call today that it was ready for delivery, so. I chewed out the person that called me today myself, because I'm like, we ordered for 3 years and we don't get any terms whatsoever or any ability to sort of get a little bit more warning on this one, and so it is what it is. So I talked to Vander Mullen anyway.
Great, it's coming, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so the last thing is, we're working on possibly tomorrow getting pavement done on East High Street via the situation with Kiewit and CHPE. Apparently something's happened between Kiewit and CHPE where Kiewit's actually going to be doing the work, but they'll be reimbursing the village to do it if we agree to a settlement agreement that they had put forth in this, which basically says that they continue using it. They're going to maintain the ability to use East High Street for minimal remaining truck route needs to go over to where that road is early next year, and that we're going to make sure that if anything happens to the road after pavement due to the paving going on now of it and then subsequent problems, that they will fix that later on, but at least the sub base will be much better this go around, because it's going to box out to 4 inches I think this time instead of just 2 inches, which is a much better scenario for that sub base for that
I
road.
guess my question is, do they still need to use that stretch?
Yeah.
They're going between both sides of
Yeah,
East
they've
High
been
Street?
actively using it. In fact, the last 2 weeks or so, they've been was in traffic stopping people out there. So
I don't know, I just feel like, whatever at this point with it, but I'd like them not to use that, it's a residential street,
Well, I would like to propose, though, because I have been pounding the table on this, to attempt to get a concession for sidewalk money from them, which I've been trying to get now for last year. We were supposed to get that in the first place, and they were supposed to call me today about it to, induce signing of this agreement. So I would like to put a caveat on to require, because of the community, impact this has had, to at least get some reasonable sum for some sidewalk contribution in that zone, especially East High Street's sidewalk situation combined with that road is horrible. And so maybe we can do something to help that situation out with this additional money from them. Would that be something that you'd be amenable to adding to the settlement agreement that Carl is kind of just reviewing right now?
It's gotta get amended. It's gotta get, they have 2 different amounts in here.
Gotcha.
So I don't know which amount you're,
Amount for
the settlement.
what they'll pay us for the paving?
Correct.
Yep.
They have either $116,200, which I like.
Yep.
But then they have $88,000. I wanna use the first one.
I think we should.
Plus sidewalk money.
So that would be, the agreement would not be with Kiewit for the sidewalk money because that's not them.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
This would be separate with
Thanks.
CHPE and their community relations folks. So I'm gonna try to get on the horn tomorrow with them to say, you're supposed to call me today, Monday, and you didn't do it, so, where are we going with this? Because we have every right to tell you not to use that road any further, and also to sue you for the pavement anyway, so, what are we gonna do?
How much money do you think? You don't want to say?
I don't think saying it out loud is a good idea under the circumstances, but I have an idea that would be a reasonable amount of money that could get some sidewalks done. Put it that way.
I would assume there's gonna be language in it that whatever funds need to be used on that street, it can't be just put into a general sidewalk fund.
Well, that would be the intention anyway. That wrapping around High Boulevard if there's any access, because obviously they were impacted too.
Well, yeah, I don't know if we have it
But
on.
not in front of Liz's house. Just kidding, Liz.
It's
I don't-
cracking.
I don't know if our current sidewalk law, or if we ever put in anything that allows us to use village money on sidewalks and private residences.
I think we had looked at that and there was nothing barring it from what we were talking about on a former day. So.
I would assume we would use that money as part of a reimbursement program. Hey, we got a pot of money.
I mean, we just want to be consistent,
Right.
and fair from one sidewalk neighborhood to another.
Right, this is a pretty unique one because we don't usually have a calamity of somebody absolutely decimating a road the way this happened. Grid kind of cleans up after themselves, DOT kind of cleans up after themselves when they're doing their stuff. So this was an extraordinary circumstance, I would call it, because we've never seen anything like this in the years I've been around here.
Right. Oh, they didn't impact the sidewalks directly.
Well, some of those sidewalks are janky. And if you're not looking pretty closely, you can trip. So, I mean, there are pedestrians on the road on High Boulevard at times.
Oh, I'm not saying the sidewalks are in good shape, I didn't.
No, but I'm saying,
Truck
because
traffic
they are on the
impacted
road and the trucks have been, there is impact on pedestrians and cyclists and all that. So I think there's an argument that is impacted sort of group within our village, especially in that street.
That's fine, I just think we better make sure we have some very clear language.
Sure.
We'll get money for some way, shape, or form for sidewalks, and this is what the attempt will be. We'll figure out the exact details, but that would be what Sean said would be my number one idea of it, though. Okay.
I mean, at one point you were concerned we can't gift funds to private owners to do sidewalks, so.
Right, but if it's earmarked specific in this type of situation, I think then you have a.
This would be the settlement of a claim.
Yeah,
some
so-
of the
Different,
funds.
it's outside the law.
Yeah.
A settlement of a claim as part of the settlement agreement,
Mhm.
we would use the money for certain things.
Yeah. I'm just curious that as far as applications, are we going to call out from this street to this street as part of the contract? Again, it's the implementation of the use of that money. It shouldn't be arbitrary.
If I may, since we are talking about potential negotiations of a settlement of a claim, this probably should be executive session discussion.
We were trying to avoid it as much as we could, but we're kind of getting to that zone. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
We will hold off on the approval of this then for now. No motion was made officially, so there's no motion to table. But know that will be forthcoming in executive session. Okay, I believe that's it for motions, unless I'm forgetting something. Anybody?
Frank, did you get information from the DPW hire on Friday?
I did, except I don't have the name or anything like that.
Right, okay. I was asked, so I was asking.
Do you have the name?
No,
You have the name.
this is news to me, so.
Scott, if you're watching, raise your hand right now.
No, he's watching, but.
Raise your hand.
That information.
We will happily do it if you tell me who it is.
Right.
We'll do it during Sean's presentation for DPW. It'll be fitting at that point. You may want to text him to let him know if he's watching, he's not listening.
I've been trying to get him to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't mention a name.
Yeah, this was a late
Yeah.
round. She's right about that, but we didn't have all the information on Friday, so I didn't see it come in today. Let's see here. I opened this purposely, and where is it? There it is. We did get a late treasurer's report, so let me just read it. Village offices prepared and sent the rate levy for taxes and utilities between the town of Ballston, Malta, and Milton. Utility rate levies were $64,948.64 for the town of Ballston, town of Milton. Tax levies to Saratoga County were $120,619.97, which is, if you think about it, over $2 million in taxes, give or take about 5%. So not the worst track record ever on that aspect of things. We can expect to receive re-levy monies by February 2026. Local government support services has provided us with our financial reconciliation for the month of October 2025. The reports have been provided to the mayor and the village trustees. That is the treasurer's report. For heard that, would you like to give us a liaison report?
Just briefly repeating announcements I made last meeting. Small Business Saturday will be coming up on Saturday, November 29th. I encourage everybody to get out and shop locally. We have some amazing shops and business owners, so please support them. And then also, as you know, we have the holiday period coming up on December 5th. And the Revitalize Bee Spa, we're having a workshop on November 20th at the county building, the solar building on West High Street from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to update people on, where we are now and solicit feedback from people. So we had a good turnout considering there was like multiple things happening the last time. So I hope that we'll have a good turnout as well for this. There should be lawn signs going up if there aren't already up. So I hope to see everybody there. That's it.
Okay.
Good for me.
And Mary?
The library for November, they have the adult book clubs, Thursday, November 13th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the library, and Wednesday, November 19th from 3:30 until 4:30 at Cornell Cooperative Extension. And the book they're discussing this month is Finn and the Lady by Kathleen Shine. Breakfast with Santa will be held Saturday, December 6th at St. Mary's Church. And tentatively, we'll find out, maybe the menorah lighting is scheduled for Monday, December 15th. And then Ballston area seniors, the 2026 membership dues may be prepaid, and membership forms can be found at the bottom of the e-blast at ballstonmiltonseniors.com. They will also be holding a festive dinner December 6th at the Milton Community Center, and tickets can be purchased at the front desk for $15.
Thank you. Ben?
The Committee on the Arts, the Sounds of Winter, next concert, String Wind, is called Harp and Flute. I'm sure it's going to be very beautiful. November 15th, this Saturday, I believe, at 3 p.m. at Brookside. It is free, but reservations are required, and you should do that sooner than later because generally they are sold out, these concerts. So they're very, very popular and very high quality level of music. Open mic night at the Real McCoy, 28 Washington Street. That's the first Friday of every month. So we had it already for this month, but next October, the sign-in's at 5:30. So that happens first Friday of every month. The next Committee on the Arts meeting is November 12th at 7 p.m. Brookside Museum. Park and Tree, Caitlin the Chair reports. Not much new is going on in Park and Tree World at the moment. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. in the Cornell Cooperative Conference Room. We're continuing with tree maintenance around the village. If anyone has questions regarding tree care for winterizing their young trees, or if they are already thinking ahead to spring and want help picking the right tree for the right location, they can reach out to the Park and Tree Board anytime.
That's it. Sean?
Okay, the first round of brush pickup has been completed, and they're almost through with the first round of leaf pickup. Obviously, there'll be 1 or 2 more rounds probably. Hydrants are still being winterized, and the swimming pool in Kelly Park will be buttoned up for the winter. And they also have the old Iron Spring on the docket. They have upgraded the electrical service in Wiswall Park from 110 to 220 and getting ready for the lights that should be here on the 14th. And then typical everyday things, meters, doing samples, and so on and so forth. He did make a note that our new mechanic is doing very well, and well, they're very happy to have him. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I forgot I have a mayor's report I should be giving to at the beginning of this. Oh, thanks. Let's see, the first thing I want to say is congratulations to our upcoming candidates that were candidates that won last Tuesday. I'll be joining our board and our court. So congratulations to Paul Dunkelbarger, who's here. Charlene Dubuque is hiding back there behind Ellie. Ellie, what are you doing over there? You're blocking Charlotte? Just kidding. And to Julie Gazettos, who is our upcoming justice, and looking forward to working with all of you. So thank you for running. Also, as I said on Facebook, thank you to Sean, thank you to Ben for their service, regardless of our disagreements along the ways. I mean, I think we're just one big happy family. Yeah.
We did have some laughs
We did.
on occasion.
But nonetheless, it's still, something important to do your public service in this way and not get paid well for it, as we know. So thank you for that, and best of luck on what's next. Once we get to January, got a couple meetings left, so we'll have some additional time together as the holidays come forward here, which is just this year has flown by. There's no doubt about it. A couple just general things here. DPW building is, we just got the name, by the way, for the DPW, so don't let me forget that for the employee. We are going to be getting hopefully plans soon for the DPW building. Just texted with Mary Beth Bianconi today from Delaware Engineering, and they've been doing some Q&A with the DPW employees and leadership to talk about what their needs are and whatnot. So we're progressing toward that. Getting it done next year might be a little challenging at this pace because of the timing, but we'll see what we can do and how we can do it at this point. As you saw in the motions, the asbestos abatement will cause an issue in terms of closing the library. Again, we will get to specific dates. You can try to warn patrons ahead of time a little bit that will be upcoming, but obviously it'll take a couple weeks out. That's why we haven't permanently moved back in here for our meetings per se, because we know we'll have to probably have at least one back in the village office building. So make sure check on that for changes for that and for any planning and zoning meetings that might have to go as well. I think that is about it. Thank you to DPW for the paving job that they did do, and I know leaves got a little late because of some of the glitches that they ran into with equipment, more or less, not working well. I know that they've got a list a mile long, as Sean has pointed out. I know Chesterwood Court, they're going to try to get that drainage issue worked on very soon, kind of work they can do in the winter when it comes down to it. We're just hoping for more or less a not as snowy, not as salt necessary winter this year, so that overtime is not at that same level, because while you think that it's good money for DPW workers, they don't want all that overtime. They want their lives too, and I can't blame them for that. So we'll see how this winter goes. Seeing a couple inches kind of falling more or less tonight was a little bit daunting. And also just in general, it looks like paving wise, including the money that we did supplement with for the Adams Circle situation with $35,000 we voted on. I think they're either going to be $2,000 ahead or $7,000 behind, because we're trying to figure out if the flagging payment was included in one of the invoices or not. So, which was $9,000 for West High Street, because that DOT group forces us to use flaggers on West High, despite the fact it's a village street, technically. Just saying. But anyway, regardless, they stayed right at the level, basically. I mean, if it misses only $7,000 for $400,000+ of streets, that's a pretty good job by Scott Kearns and everybody over at DPW. So thank you to them for that. Having said all that, I need a motion to approve the hiring of Cameron Cheka pursuant to a background check.
I'll make the motion.
For a DPW labor position.
Yes.
Full time.
A second.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Fontainza and Trustee Raymond. Discussion. We give you 90 seconds if you want it for specifically this motion. If anybody wants to speak, I see none. I see none up on Zoom. So we will proceed with any
I should
discussion.
have let Sean have it, sorry.
Sorry.
I'm always on the.
I should have just given it to him. My bad. In fact, we'll flip it. How's that? Sean,
I'm fine with that.
Trustee Raymond, and Trustee Fontainza in that order. I see the clerk is diligently writing through that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I think that's it for motions for now until we do the executive session. Let's go to old business. Ben, since you want zoning so badly, I will put zoning first to make that one.
Well, if we don't know where that's going exactly, let's do if you don't mind, let's do Sean's sidewalk. And wait,
Okay.
and we'll do zoning.
Look at that.
All right. So, yeah, I had sent, basically something that I had drafted up that was based on original language that I think, both trustee Baskin and trustee Cormos had worked on and we talked about in a special meeting in February of 2024. I sent that to you about almost a month ago. And that was basically, I was sending you a slightly revised version of what I had first sent in January of 2025. I really, other than Ben, just today, better late than never. I haven't gotten any feedback. And Carla did ask me a couple of questions back in January regarding the origin of it. And I made the best explanation I could. Just was hoping for more feedback from the rest of the board. It is essentially what was written up and what we were approaching a consensus in a special meeting in February of 2024, that we needed some sort of mechanism to have mandatory repair or construction of sidewalks. There isn't really anything that clearly spells that out in the existing code. From what I can glean, based on reading it, actually what's in the existing code is pretty broad. It doesn't have any specificity as to what triggers a mandatory construction or reconstruction or repair. And as we all know, we've all agreed that we need to write sidewalk code. We need better sidewalk code. I'm just really, really concerned. I actually had wrote an email, I think, way back in June 14th of 2024, that my fear is when we wrote the reimbursement schedule and submitted it, that the actual writing the code would languish. And I wish I could have that kind of luck on the lottery. But if you want to call it that, my biggest concern regarding this is we really haven't made any progress in almost 2 years. And I travel, as an example, McLean Street quite often. I see folks walking in the street and there isn't any obstructions on the sidewalk. It's simply because, particularly at night, the sidewalks aren't in the greatest condition. And I just don't want it to take somebody getting hit for us to actually do something about this, because that would be a massive failure on our parts. So I realize both Ben and I got a short time here. I'm just curious as to what's your plan moving forward.
I admit I need to read through it. I'm interested in figuring it out, but thank you for bringing it back to our attention. Maybe by next meeting we can have some discussion about it. It sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be reasonable for next meeting to have a draft law to vote on for a public hearing for the next meeting.
I
It's been a
don't
long
think
time.
that's reasonable at all.
No?
I think Carla has to, as you said, if I didn't pull this carbon copy out of an existing code. So she's gonna have to look at what I wrote and determine the legality of it.
Yeah.
That's not, I realize it's not an easy task, and you've had your hands full. I recognize that, but I really would like to see some sort of commitment. And maybe even a loose schedule as to when you're gonna, it doesn't have to happen while I'm still on the board. I just want it to happen. So,
I agree with you. And I think, my general idea here is to try to figure out a way to make sure that we're allowing people to manage it so that we're not getting into the prevailing wage zone of things to blow up the pricing, but to also make sure that that half of the cost that can't be covered is coverable for folks, especially on limited incomes, despite being property owners. It happens. And so we want to make sure we've got both bases covered and also have the right specifications in as you're trying to look at, I know. So yes, we're aligned, I think, generally that we need to do something here and get it done. It's just been, unfortunately, every 5 seconds I try to sit down and look at something like this, I get a zoning email from somebody.
Is it possible that maybe Carla can outlay for us just a reasonable schedule to get through this?
That I can do.
Because I couldn't tell you whether it
and
is.
I can understand you guys maybe not wanting to go too deep into it until Carla's reviewed it for legality. That makes sense to me. So-
Legality, and also, I want to see if that or the loan program needs to be baked into the law, not baked into the law. So she's going to have to do some research on that too. There are municipalities in New York, I think, that have done it both ways. And so I'd like to know why some did it one way and some did it the other. But it seems to be a pretty promising thing for the ones that have done it, and then what the right terms are. And, we did, for the capital plan approach, set aside a certain amount of money inside that capital planning approach to make sure we were being able to fund it with some of our fund balance down the line, because obviously that goes deeper than just the $100,000-ish that we're carrying for sidewalks right now, for reimbursements. So, it's a collection of things we need to get done, but I think we can get it done in a few months period total, from start of research to fixing of draft to review to public hearing, anything that needs to change from the public hearing and all that stuff. So, I think that's first step, as Bernadette suggested, see what Carla can produce for us in terms of a timetable for how to make this work. And she kind of knows what the other research aspect is now too.
We actually already started that research, because we talked about this
Yeah.
6 months ago or
Oh,
so.
yeah.
So
We'll have to finish it up. Yeah,
I gotta find it.
Yeah, I mean, this is late. We are late. And I was surprised, this is a question that came up when, was $100,000 was allocated in the budget, or was it more than that? And June 1st came, and we're like, okay, we have this money and we have this idea of a loan program. Let's get the language together so people can actually use the money. And at that time, Frank, you said, we'll do that in January. And that really surprised me, since we were allocating the money for it. I didn't understand the logic of waiting till next month, or 2 months from now. So I thank Sean for putting it in front again. You'll get your wish. Won't happen before January. And I don't understand the logic of allocating a whole 100,000 to just a few months worth of a year that's left.
Because we keep rolling it over actually to ensure that we're actually doing that level of sidewalk. Ultimately, we're not going back and re-taxing people for that money.
Well, as you know, that rollover isn't a thing in municipalities, and
But reallocation is.
what's happening is the 100,000, what's being used is for public trees, I believe. That's the bulk of where this money's going? Tens of thousands of dollars to residences, the sidewalks where the public trees have to be replaced, like in front of the church and across from Brookside and others.
If it's even it's scraping it, I don't even know what we're coding it to be honest with you, and we'll take a look at what we're coding it this year. But that's not the intention realistically. I mean, if it's some of it's being taken for that grade, we'll be replenishing it anyway next year. So
Right. I just feel like if we're going to allocate the funds we should make from village taxpayers, we should make those funds available to village taxpayers without delay.
But they are, Ben. Currently we up the reimbursement in the first place. And we've got just one questionable reimbursement we've seen, and every other reimbursement we've paid out so far.
How many of that?
Not as many as I'd like to see, so
I know.
that's going to be the next part of it.
It
But
hasn't
again,
been.
That
Sorry,
would,
go ahead.
that would be interesting data, maybe to provide at the next meeting as to how much it's been utilized.
How many permits have you
volunteer basis.
requested sidewalk-wise in the last maybe 6 months, give or take? I'm not.
Less than a handful.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole idea of allocating a whole 100,000, surpassing the tax cap to do that. And
Right,
the
we
loan
need $1 million.
the loan program, what?
We need $1 million total, so the
Oh,
100,000 is.
Oh, I know.
touching
When
the
I
surface.
suggested that, you put on Facebook on voting day, I was suggesting a tax increase, but you're basically doing that, but without
Yes,
the,
because you wanted the
without
village to
the
take over
infrastructure.
sidewalks.
What?
You wanted the village to take over sidewalks.
Yes, I did. And basically you're approaching that with your doing village trees and gifts for people who, from grants and things like that. And anyway, I don't think,
No, could you just
I don't think
rewind-
your
could you
approach
rewind
is
for a moment?
consistent.
Could you rewind for a moment? What is this gift or grant thing you're talking about?
You have accepted the idea that we will pursue, which is great, we will pursue grants for sidewalks. In fact, I think we've actually applied for a sidewalk grant, so we didn't get it. In the past,
You're talking about the Tonko money,
in the past, you considered that a gift and you were worried about whether we could actually apply it to private homeowner properties. But I'm glad that we're past that now. So I'm just saying, Frank.
Issue of reimbursement versus direct gift.
I'm just saying, Frank, when we put the money forward, we should put the legislation to enable the use of that money within a reasonable time, not almost in the following fiscal year. That's all.
The
That's point.
legislation is put forward. Technically, the part that we are responsible for is the reimbursement. The loan pool is a separate thing that we're not technically responsible for. We'll be pooling it, but it's not a gift to a landowner or a reimbursement to landowners to be paid back on their taxes over X number of
The
years.
justification for that huge spike in sidewalk funding was this loan pool.
And it's going to continue. It's still not enough, Ben, not even close to enough for what will be.
I know, but we're not using any of it.
Well, the
Right,
thing
right.
is, it won't be enough when you have a mechanism in the law for mandatory
Right.
reconstruction. Right now, it's way more than enough for the voluntary
Well, I think,
reconstruction.
as I've said before, I think using the pavement of streets, which is an 11-year cycle, is one big way to make sure that we're going to keep the cycle going year to year, where basically we go investigate, we list the streets we're gonna pave ahead of time. We go investigate the sidewalks on those streets and say, okay, this one, yes, this one, no, this one, yes, this one doesn't even exist, so it should be put in, stuff like that. But, you know, giving the homeowner or property owner the timing to do it, and basically, if we do that in 11 years, we've done one full round of remediation of sidewalks at that point in time. So I have no problem putting that into law, that when a street's gonna be paved, review of sidewalks, it has to be done alongside of it, and time sufficient, unless there's an emergency for pavement, you know, that time sufficient to get a sidewalk replaced for those that do need to get it replaced, so that we're not ruining a paved street to get a sidewalk done. It should be the other way around. Thank you, Carla, for we just read
Yeah,
you.
I just emailed all of you, the email that Sean had done on New Year's Day, just so you know, it was New Year's Day. It was supposed to be just
Old
relaxed.
acquaintance wasn't forgotten, huh?
Yeah, but no, I
You know, I'm
forwarded
older now, I wasn't hungover.
it, no, and
I was sitting around the house.
I just
Watching some
wanted,
bowl games.
I just wanted everybody to have it because you also included, your marked up version of the current law in there
Right.
too. So
You're right.
I just, that's.
I resent that just today, too.
Right, I just wanted it all
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Thank you, John, appreciate that. So,
All right, let's start with a discussion on the process and just clarify what that process is, because I don't think anyone is clear on what process we are following to get to the finish line for this zoning. So just to recap, not having the zoning on the agenda today is just symptomatic of a lack of clarity of how we're moving forward. When a board member, such as myself, tries to resolve zoning issues or come to consensus between meetings, you say, Frank, we have to wait for the meeting. When a meeting comes up, you don't put zoning on the agenda, even after it's requested.
Ben,
I'm just wondering, how do you intend to resolve the remaining zoning issues? Are we going to have a third special zoning meeting? Are we going to have zoning? Well, what I'm requesting is zoning on every agenda for the following 2 meetings that we have, and as well as this one, through December. Are we going to poll members between meetings as well? But how, that process, we can only resolve issues by talking with each other, and we need opportunities for talking with each other. When a meeting comes up, you say, oh, we'll deal with that afterwards. So like this new zoning map, which is not officially adopted, just a proposal, we need to talk about. And you said, oh, we'll do it between meetings, but when I tried to do that with the open space piece, and because the majority of the board was very clear, we need to add the parks to the open, you said, no, we have to do that at a meeting. So,
can I answer a couple?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. First off, the open space situation was, and to actually address something that John had said earlier, because we actually never did get back to that, we were trying to determine too what was public and what was private property, because we cannot turn private property into open spaces. The cemetery is private property, the fairgrounds are private property.
We resolved that.
We also looked at what was going on right over here and realized that this is a convoluted situation, that we shouldn't make open space because of the way the property lines go, and we have a property that
Right,
actually
we left
jumps
that
across.
off.
Can I talk, please?
Go ahead.
So we have a property that jumps across Milton Avenue that was going to get included in this open space as well, and that we didn't really fully appreciate some of these nuances with our own land around here. So there's that. Okay, that was what we needed to discuss and make sure that we had a good grasp.
We excluded the problematic properties, and we had 3 that we were all settled on that had no controversy, and you still said to wait.
Can I finish?
Go ahead. Well, you say things that aren't exactly accurate, so go ahead.
Well, you can be the truth police when I'm done.
Okay.
With respect to tonight, as I said, I didn't find your email. I could look through a bunch of your emails. There were literally, I believe, 30 emails from you in the last 2 weeks about zoning. I'm sorry to tell you, we're a little busy here running a village from time to time. We can't read every word and then go back 13 times to figure out what the heck Ben wanted on the agenda when it's kind of thrown into different emails that way. I do wish people would send one concise email. Sean, you're pretty good at it actually, of saying, here's what I want on the agenda. Makes it a heck of a lot easier for going back and finding it, for the clerk to keep track of it as well, because sometimes you put her on emails, sometimes you don't for the stuff that's supposed to go on the agenda, which is the clerk's job. I basically help out and make sure that we're complete each Friday before a meeting. Okay, it's a team effort, but again, I apologize, I didn't see it in time.
It's fine, but I figured it was an oversight, but then the agenda was resent after I pointed out that there was no
I wasn't in
zoning.
today, Ben, so I didn't have the chance to tell everybody to
All
put
right,
it
so
down. They did
I
volunteer.
pointed out and it still didn't make it on.
They did volunteer to make the change for the EML versus union thing, because that got caught and they felt they needed to be changed. And I appreciated them reaching out to say that. It didn't occur to me, because it was out of nowhere today, to say, oh, by the way, the zoning. So.
Well, it wasn't, probably 3 times it was mentioned before the second draft was sent, that zoning should have been on. So when it wasn't on, I was disappointed. But I'm glad, but thank you for allowing us to talk about it now. So I
You
appreciate
just wasted 14 minutes, I think it is, getting to the point where talk about something substantive. If you want something substantive discussed.
All right, we need to set the stage though of how this is operated. Because we're at the point, and I said this at the special zoning meeting, where it has taken you so long to process and move this forward that Sean and I aren't even going to be able to vote on this. So back at our first zoning meeting, July 21st, you provided no comments for that meeting. And unlike everyone else, on August 1st, you finally sent your handwritten, occasionally illegible notes. You failed to create a second zoning meeting until October 27th, 3 months, basically. And even then, you didn't provide comments until October 27th for that second meeting. So, and then when we try to do things between meetings, you say, wait for the meeting. When we wait for the meeting and try to get it on the meeting, you say, no, do it between meetings. So it's just been difficult to resolve things. Now, the issues that I would like, that we all understand need still additional conversation are the map, and are we going to change it or not? What non-residential uses are going to go on in the residential areas? We have to agree to this non-residential standards for those that was in. I'd like to share this stuff with the public so they can give us feedback at some point. The minimum lot size, I think, is ripe for change. The calculations that I did, once you take out all the zeros for lot sizes that are zero, I guess because of utilities or just mistakes, even the 10th percentile is over 5,000 square feet. So there's no, 4,000 is way too small. We don't even have the data on the R2 properties, but I suspect it's the same issue where that should go up by 1,000 or so. These are substantive issues we still need to finalize. If we're doing R2 for nursing home and county buildings, are we allowing 2-family residential in residential zones with conditions like 3,000 square foot, owner occupied, potentially no tear downs? So there's design requirements for non-residential and residential zones, and also the allowed table of uses will be impacted if we change the zoning map. So how and when are we going to talk about those things? I wouldn't mind a third special zoning meeting to wrap that up. I think that would probably be the most efficient way. I think face-to-face is the most efficient way, based on experience and lack of response. But we could do it at the next zoning meetings or next regular meeting as well if we do it like we did last time, which worked pretty well, I thought. So I'm interested in people's thoughts on how to have the next piece of conversation. And we could do it tonight if you want to.
Is Chris going to be able to make all those, because we just approved the additional funding. Is he going to be able to do that in 2 weeks?
Well, he's basically provided a lot of the changes we talked, some of that, not all of them, but a number of them are in the latest draft that we've seen, the public has not seen. So he's actively working on this.
Well, Sean actually brings up point number one of why things were a little bit in this last 2-week period, flooded out because he reached the limit and then some of what we had agreed to pay him. So how are we in good conscience telling the man to continue working without having an approved excess at that point in time? So that's number one.
But we could continue working even after he said things.
Well, not when basically we volleyed everything back to him and to Carla to handle at that point. Number two, just as a history lesson here, I guess. I want to say it was back in September, I said to you twice in meetings that the amount of emails and micromanagement that were going on was going to cause an issue with respect to getting this done by December 31st. And I suggested I was sympathetic to the idea that you and Sean, more you, because Sean kind of was, whatever about it, but you would like to vote on it for legacy purposes. And I was trying to tell you, we're trying to flag to you that when it's with us, it basically is brick walled from the folks out there to see it, and getting it out and getting it to the planning boards and the zoning board in our case to review was something we needed to do sooner rather than later instead of trying to micromanage every point of it. And in the meantime, if we found other things that we needed to change, we could start tracking them, listing them, and get them changed in real time. The amount of time that it's been held by this board is ridiculous. And Ben, honestly, it's every 5 seconds we're getting something else wrong you're finding, or whatever, and it's one man's opinion. No offense, but not all those things that you put in emails are going to be adopted, and we don't even get a chance to respond to your email before the next one comes in and the next one comes in. it's that point where we all are busy people. I'm running a village, you guys have jobs, in addition, I have other stuff too on top of it. And so there's gotta be a little bit more sensitivity to the idea that you're trapping this law inside our group. And it's kind of like being held prisoner from the folks that need to see it at this point, the boards and then the public as well at that point. And I try to warn you about this twice, and here we are.
Frank.
So I don't know what else to tell you.
Because you don't respond, so I have to send.
Respond to
I have-
what? What am I?
Okay, so.
I can't
so
sit
for
there
example,
all day responding to you.
Yeah, it took like 6, 7 emails, 7 reminders to ask you to provide some comments to the Excel that everyone else had contributed to.
For a meeting
Now-
that were in place in time
That
for the
was-
meeting, and then we realized that because I filled it out late, you actually had some things you didn't even understand in that whole thing because it was fresh for me to bring up. So
Frank, if
no
it wasn't
offense.
for me trying to move this forward with that inter-meeting
Yeah, it's really
mechanism of
moving
an
forward fast here,
Excel,
Ben.
you have delayed on purpose, I would say.
No,
So
Ben.
for example, July 21st, at the special meeting, you said, oh, this would be good, develop for us, talking to Carl and Chris, develop for us in public for transparency purposes, a Google Doc of things that need to be discussed further, and us possibly getting feedback into that document to see if we can reach a conclusion on some of those via the doc. If we can't, when we meet the second time, those are the topics we reduce it down to at that point. So we can give him, Chris, help and guidance where we need to get to. And we'll all know the comments, so we're not hiding the ball on anything here, just trying to get this pushed forward. This would allow you, Chris, to get this into a much smaller pot of things, and we can do that in the next 2 or 3 weeks without too much trouble. That was July 21st. That's great, Frank. That would be a great idea. You didn't do anything. I did it. There is nothing from you on a Google Doc and talking about things between meetings and moving things forward as you suggested, and we all agreed. Nothing. I had to do that, and on September 4th, I finally shared, so after nothing from you, until 2 weeks after this meeting was your first comments, I shared an Excel and encouraged everyone to do what you had suggested to do, which is share online so that we could all talk about it and reduce the number of things that we have to talk about at the actual meetings. And so I basically did what you said we should do.
I think,
And that's how we move forward.
Well, I
Frank.
think-
And even then, you didn't even provide your comment. Everyone did, all 6 of us, the 4 of us, Carl and Chris, provided our comments on that document, and you did not until the day of December 27th at the second meeting. And that is not helpful. That does not move us forward, Frank. That holds us back. That slows us down. And so when you do that over and over, I have to think it's intentional. When you don't do things that allow us to move forward, I have to think it's intentional, that you're slowing things down on purpose. And so here we are today, and the question is, how are we going to move forward, despite what you have done in the past, to continue the conversation, to resolve the conversation? We are narrowing down the topics. The more we have looked at this, the more we see, oh, there's some issues that haven't been fixed yet. The minimum lot size is a real thing. The 2-person ability for a family. Sometimes, actually, thanks to things I've done and we've done as a board in your absence, the board has indicated very clearly what the board majority wants, and you refuse to accept that. You refuse to resolve and move on. And so that slows us down. Whether it's the open space issue that you refuse to which is very straightforward, Wiswall and Iron Spring and Colonial Hills, those are parks, they need to be in the open, and that wasn't even something you could agree to between meetings. So it gets frustrating. There are a handful, it's a manageable handful, but it needs to happen somehow. And so, what I would suggest, I would be open to a 3rd zoning meeting to nail it down and finish it off. But if we don't have that, then we should do it at these regular meetings, and do it there, because we say we'll do it between meetings, it doesn't happen.
okay, so what I was going to try to say, I believe the matrix was really in benefit to you because you seem to have raised significant concerns, and then when you said, like, can you narrow it down? And you agreed to certain, you narrowed down some of your biggest concerns. So that's why I think ultimately you did the matrix. At least that's the way I understood it.
Oh, I did, but I encouraged everyone to add what they
Sure,
wanted
I understand
to
that, but
put
you're
on
blaming
there.
him for not doing the matrix when honestly, we were working off of your list of concerns. So not sure how he's gonna raise your specific concerns on a matrix.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about, the matrix is just a vehicle. It's just a
But just
vehicle for sharing ideas
previously
between
you had
meetings.
complained that he had not done it, and.
Oh, yeah, he didn't do
But
it.
my point is, they're your concerns, so we're working off of your concerns.
Well, you could
So if you
add
want to keep
concerns.
spending time, and bemoaning the process, it's not going to get anything done faster. So at this point, like, I'm sorry you're very frustrated. I think everybody's a little frustrated. So,
So what's
so-
your suggestion for
I agree, we
resolving?
need another meeting,
Okay.
but this is not helpful. This is not productive.
So let's-
So should I do another doodle for God's sakes, or do we say the next meeting?
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna make a motion at this point that the edits be finished up by
By
Chris
Chris.
and by Carla,
Carla.
consistent with
Then
the
work on
last
that.
meeting, and that the draft be pushed to review for the planning board, the county planning board, the zoning board, and available for public review. That's my motion. Would anybody like to second it?
A second.
Mary?
All right, now let's
Discussion.
Yeah, let's clarify. The board majority agreed to two-family dwellings in residential with conditions, so that needs to go into the final. The board agreed to the additional standards.
Ben?
These
my
are things that the
motion-
board is.
My motion was clear that it
No.
would be, yes, it was.
No, it wasn't, because there are issues, because what you think is clear is not actually clear, because what you're saying is, oh, based on the last draft or something, but the board has actually made decisions that are not reflected in the draft. So for example,
Did you not hear the motion?
the board would.
Would you stop for a second
All
and
right, go
listen?
ahead.
It was to make changes consistent with the last meeting's decisions, okay? That means the things as they read them and as they determine are consistent with the norms are going to be put in there as the changes.
norms.
I'm going to trust
The matrix
Chris.
is there that they
Yes.
both have access to, so.
I'm going to trust Chris and Carl at this point. I don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars more of the village's money on Chris. No offense, Chris. I'm sure, you've got plenty of other work to do though at this point. We've got to turn a corner. And if it's this way, it's time. It is time for others to have this and to tell us now what they want to finally change so we can move it to public hearing, 1, and then public hearing most likely 2 after we make the final changes and put it through the process again. I've warned you multiple times, this is going to be a 2 public hearing process because it's just, there's no way this thing's not going to have substantive changes from the first public hearing. Just no way. But we can't get there until it's gone from here. We've had the 2 meetings. I feel pretty good about the shape it's in. It's not perfect. We'll try to perfect it with the public's assistance at this point and go. That's what this is.
So this
Public
is,
gets 90 seconds for.
Well, I'm still
public
discussing.
comment.
I'm
Yeah,
discussing.
Discussion's actually after public comment on this. So 90 seconds for anybody that'd like to speak to this motion, and then we'll do it. I think it's Maryland.
this is classic Frank move. He delays, and then he slams the door so that people can't make decisions, and then you are going to make the decision, Frank. Let's just acknowledge you and Carla and Chris are going to make the decisions without the rest of the board. That's what you're going to do, Frank.
Well,
That's what the effect of this is.
on one part, sorry, Maryland, but on one part of this, realistically, I trust Chris and Carla since they've done this before. Okay, now where we come in is realistically, we're supposed to look at our neighborhoods and say what may be needing tweaking compared to what they're used to doing. But I think we have just thrown the baby out with the bathwater with that trust level of the people that we are paying.
This
to
is
trust.
our job. They've taken
Well,
it as long
theirs
as
too.
as far as they can, and it's our job to finish this, not their job.
Marilyn, go ahead, 9 seconds.
Marilyn Stevenson, 45 West High Street. I'm a little confused because I did ask in the first public comment session what those plan of work items were for Chris to work on. So I'll ask with respect to this motion, what are the list of issues that were apparently articulated so that the public knows where you're going with this motion, because it's not clear to me that I saw anything like that either in the attachments or in the meeting minutes. So I'd like to see that articulated. And if I understood correctly, the draft has not gone on to the ZBA or the planning board. And when it does, what is the time frame for that? Because I know there's gonna be some changes.
30 days.
Okay, also, will there be a public comment process as both those land use boards actually review the draft? In other words, will there be a meeting where the public can attend and in open, an open meeting, listen to what the members are saying, or is it done behind the scenes?
That's up to them on how they're conducting.
Well, it's done in an open
Right,
meeting.
right.
Okay, it's done in an open meeting, but is there a public comment period after that
Marilyn, can I-
discussion happens?
I get where you're going. Let me suggest that written comments to the board would probably be your best bet in that situation, because we can take written comments and place them into the the official record for the actual official public hearing that eventually would occur, public hearing one, we'll call it at that point.
Okay,
So that I would suggest that's the best way to handle that. You can attend a meeting and give an input if they take that input at the county planning board, the local planning board, and the zoning board. That if that's their prerogative and what they're going to do, that's fine. But the stuff that you want the board to see, I would really say put in writing until we get to a public hearing.
no, I'm really just trying to clarify if those boards are required to have an agenda which shows an agenda item of public comment during that time period.
No.
And
So
they,
not at all.
no, and there's been another instance where they reviewed some law, I forget which it was, and they did not. They just sent it around to their members and sent it back to us. And that was that.
But again, if you put a written comment in, we're going to probably subsume all written comments into the public hearing by a motion later on to make sure that everything is in that collective public hearing, correct? Is that the general way of doing it? That's a thumbs up. I got something right tonight. Anybody else? Seeing none, nothing on Zoom?
And I'd like to amend it to, I don't know if it's an amendment or what, that we have a third public special zoning meeting.
I don't accept. At this point, we're going to have plenty of other meetings to talk about it and other opportunities. And right now, we need to get a working draft.
Just so everyone knows what he's doing, he is cutting out Sean and me, two people who have been involved with this zoning for the last 2 years plus, from having a resolution on the small number of things that need to be resolved. He is taking that away. He's going to put it in his own hands, which is where he wants it. And he's going to lead the board down to what he wants. So for example, no one here wants the planning board and zoning board members to be able to be chosen from outside the village of Ballston Spa, but he does. And let's see if that goes in there or not.
It's not in there, I can tell you.
All right, it was in, and then we took it out, and then you researched it some more.
That one.
So that's one issue. We talked, the majority wants 2 years on, for alternates for all, the zoning and planning board. That needs to be in there. The lot sizes need to be increased. They're not, the 10% is off. It should be at least 5,000 for the R1A, and R1B should be at least 4,000. We have the change in the R2, that was agreed to for nursing home. And I'm saying all these things so it's on the record, because apparently Sean and I.
The matrix that was
Carla
done.
and Chris are working on.
We're gonna-
Also, if I may,
Yeah.
it's also, Chris provided you with the notes that we are using, Chris and I, as the notes that we are using to
Big changes.
make the changes. So not only is it in the matrix, which we were working with, it was also in an additional document that was sent to you.
Right, and then what I'm doing is letting the public know what are the remaining issues. So the other piece,
If I could just interject real quick.
Please do.
Do you think Chris and yourself, Carla, could have those changes done by the next meeting and share with the board? Or?
Absolutely. And in fact, as we're sitting here, as we're sitting here, I've been making the additional changes with respect to the alternate members of the planning board and zoning board, the notice of public hearings, those things that I couldn't put in within the time period.
Well, Chris has already sent
Because there was a
his
special
over a
meeting
week
that
ago.
was publicly recorded, so this is all on record already.
Correct, and I
Right.
appreciate, Ben, that Chris did that, and I'm very happy for him. I did not get a chance to, I apologize.
So you're looking at it for legal issues.
I'm just putting in my legal part, and I'm gonna go
Right.
through it for consistency. Yes, Sean, we can have it in the next week.
Right.
That sounds great.
That's not a problem whatsoever. And I also want to say I do not take direction from the mayor when I use my legal knowledge.
But what's the point of having it in a week, Sean, if there's no more discussion?
There's gonna be continuous discussion.
By us, by this board?
We're going to, you've demanded it be on old business at every meeting remaining, did you not?
Are we, yes, and are we going to then resolve the issues at these meetings?
Along with the planning board, the zoning board, and the public at that point, because they need to have the ability at this point too. We're sitting here, okay, we've, I think, done a decent job, the five of us, trying with Chris's help and Carla's help to try to round out some of the issues. There comes a point where you got to say, okay, probably time to get those changes and everything else and see what we may have messed up or not appreciated fully. It's time. It's time. And you will still have the ability to provide input on this board, off this board, or whatever at this point. Will you get to vote on it, Ben? No, you won't, because you didn't heed my warning.
Congratulations, you accomplished your goal.
No, it's not a congratulations.
Good job, Frank.
I actually feel bad to a certain degree for
Sure
you
you
because
do.
I believe in a thing called legacy in that respect. So
Sure.
He's actually talked about this with me a lot, and I know you don't believe him in that, but
I just look at behavior. I look at the
well, your
actions of the
behavior's
last
not
3 months.
stellar either,
The
so
3 months.
let's move
4
on. We
months,
have a
5 months.
motion on the table, right?
What was the motion? Can you repeat it, please?
Oh my lord.
motion was to have Chris and Carla complete the draft, what was it? Consistent with the comments from the last meeting, special meeting, and to take that draft and provide it for review by the planning board, the zoning board, and the county planning board, and also to release it for public view.
Right, so what you're saying is we won't have access, we won't have the ability to make changes anymore. The first part of your motion, we've already accomplished.
Can I talk
We
to
already
Carla, who
agreed
would
to
like
it.
to say something because she may have caught something wrong in that motion? Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't send it to county planning yet.
Okay.
So
Our planning board, our zoning board.
So
and
that-
we need to do seeker then. So we're gonna have to put together all the seeker documents to get that done.
Right, so
And
you're
can-
short
can I please
circuiting,
finish?
you're short circuiting our conversation.
What? She's trying to make sure we're following
Not
the
Carla,
process.
Frank.
Oh
By
my
doing
God.
this, it short circuits our ability to continue to look at the draft and make, and resolve issues.
To do what?
There are issues we haven't said, yes, we're doing X or yes, we're doing Y. We haven't said that.
We have an entire matrix of 20 points that we talked about last time
And
that
we-
are getting incorporated.
No, we figured out
Plus
a
or
number of
minus.
them. So for example, the map that you have all seen for over a week, does that make sense to people? Where we
Let's
changed.
just, we have a motion.
we-
We are so off track at this point.
No,
There's a
no, we're not,
specific-
because that's an
there's specific-
example.
There's specific language you used. That is the motion.
Yeah.
It is not talking about that.
No, but
It's just
I'm-
trying to make sure we get a draft to our planning and zoning board.
Yes.
And.
And part of my discussion is to bring up the issues that will be left unresolved by approving this motion. So for example, this map with the different zoning, so the suburban neighborhoods go together.
Can't until he stops talking.
Yeah, so so the suburban areas go together in the map. Do we agree on that? Do we agree on that?
Will you call the vote, please?
Because that hasn't been settled
Motion,
yet.
suspend debate and vote.
Yes, I'm making that motion.
Would anybody like to second that?
I'll second.
Can I have a roll call?
Just move forward.
Trustee Van Denzer,
Yes.
trustee Price Bush,
Yes.
trustee Baskin,
No.
trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Mayor Rossi.
Yes, 4-1. Thank you. We are going to no new business, public comment number 2, 3 minutes on any issue. If you're on Zoom, this would be the time to raise your hand. Remember, we are going to hit the 2-hour mark in 7 minutes. So basically, the maximum duration for this will be 37 minutes based on our rules of procedure. Liz,
Which can be extended
well, we also have an executive session tonight.
Yeah, I just want to finish the 2 points on my zoning comments from before, which I hope I'll leave this for, so they're part of the public record, and I hope you look at them.
There's no public record. Liz,
Yeah.
there's no public record.
No, in the minutes.
No, the board had months ago, the board decided that they weren't accepting, written comments as public record.
She's following your sale. Why don't you email it to us so we have a copy of it?
All right.
But it's not part of the minutes.
Yeah.
I hope I haven't used my time yet.
No.
I want you to consider allowing ADUs only in existing buildings, so there's no one building anything, and only if owner occupied. And I think that's a way to go to get over the concerns about ADUs, and also that they be prohibited as being used as short-term rentals. I think those kind of caveats would allow people to, the carriage houses. There's a lot of carriage houses that could become ADUs. The other thing is that I believe is still in what you're dealing with, is you are going to make short-term rentals illegal. There are approximately 30 short-term rentals in this village right now, according to Airbnb. And I think it'll be a mistake to just say they're illegal. For one, we don't have much accommodation for people around here. Instead, you should limit the number of short-term rentals allowed in the village to maybe no more than 50, which is a small percentage of our 2,400 units. Do a permit, charge a fee that pays for things, have them inspected, limit the occupancy. This is what Saratoga Springs has recently done, a lot of communities are doing. They don't make them illegal, they regulate them. And they, have them, treat them as if they are, a business. So, the other point I want to bring up is,
Liz, just on the topic, the county has to actually render, and they have not still. And that is what we are waiting on, the county. This is their process right now with short-term rentals.
Saratoga Springs did not wait.
They don't have to, they are a city. They are, but there is a discussion between the county and the city about how that's gonna get managed down the line and who's gonna get what money. We are not the city of Saratoga Springs, and we're going to be basically mandated to go down this road with the county or prohibit them entirely in the village. Until we see what the whole framework is going to be, we can't do anything here because we can't say yes to something that we turn around and say no to later. It's not fair
Well, then
for residents.
I suggest then you do not.
Technically, the stasis is actually not allowed in the village without a special permit. And so we're just staying consistent with what the actual current law is.
That's really not true. I mean, it's
Yes,
allowed
yes.
now,
No,
and
it's
you're
not.
gonna make it illegal.
No, it's actually not allowed here.
Let's
Look in the
let
code.
Liz give her comments
It does not say
without
it's
being
illegal.
interrupted and.
Yeah, I think that needs to be.
A bread and
looked at.
breakfast is a special use
Okay.
permit. And that's what a short-term rental technically is.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, not really.
Yeah, well, I think you're gonna harm a number of people who are looking to make that, have a
Yeah, we don't have to
short-term
make it
rental
illegal.
in order to make their tax bill. My second point is, what is the village gonna do about the current situation of the SNAP benefits and the HEAP benefits? Almost 14,000 people in Saratoga County as of 2022, where the records and received SNAP benefits. 13,760 received HEAP benefits. Many of those are the same individuals. That's 13% of the households in Saratoga County. If we have that same percentage of our households, that's over 300 households that are currently facing starvation, no heat. Many folks are donating to, local food banks, are helping, but what can the village itself do for these 300 people? Thank you.
As we approved earlier, the library is working in that respect with the motion we approved. We also got a call from somebody that is trying to do a SNAP type support system that wanted to do something in the village, and I told them that what the library is already doing, and suggested to them, because they actually live down Rock City area, I told them, you're probably actually better off working in the towns, basically Ballston and Milton, because the reach will be broader at that point. So then we're doing a little bit here, and we'll have the town support the other side of us, so that basically they have a bigger reach in that situation. So we do get calls and give recommendations on that. Something else we're going to be able to do as the village government directly. It's just not something we can get in the middle of. But
Well, we could at least publicize what's happening and encourage people to,
the
get to
library will be
food
doing that with
pantries.
theirs, for instance. That's what they're going to do. They needed to get the
We could
approvals
do
on it.
that too. We
So.
could do that.
Okay.
No, I was just, there's a number of programs, well, you got LifeWorks, the churches, the Baptist church, I think is Paul, you probably know, they're expanding their lunch program. The Presbyterian church, actually, a lot of the interfaith, like all the different churches, they do an ecumenical Thanksgiving basket drive. So we make sure people have food for Thanksgiving. I know that the Episcopal Church, my church, we do provide food to homeless students. The Episcopal Church has their own pantry. So there's a lot of community effort, and we certainly could be promoting those efforts.
What about the heat?
That's managed by LifeWorks. I know that they're asking, like for instance, my church donates. They are asking our missions committee donates to LifeWorks, and I know they're asking for folks to not earmark for specific programs, to make adjustments where needed, depending on what funding is or isn't there with, national stuff. So, but.
We have one,
Karen.
I'm sorry?
Karen?
Evan Ayers? Okay, thank you. Sorry. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen Evan Arias, Teddy's. Hi. I just wanted to say that I know the school district of talking about the SNAP benefits and the kids and the families with some food insecurities. I know the school district has reached out and they have provided a lot of information for, like what Bernadette was saying, with the local churches and where you can go for food around here. And if you need help, I know at the laundromats, Cunningham's and Spa Laundromat, there's flyers up there, there's QR codes for people, and there's lists of a lot of different places where people can go to get some assistance, food, whatever they need, and where you can reach out to different things. So if there is families, they can reach out to the school. They have provided a lot of information to help out any of the families that might be in need during this time of the year or all year long. Just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll go to other business, including unlimited board response public comment. Sean?
I'm sorry, I'm going around the table. Sorry.
I go the other way.
No, go ahead.
Sean, go ahead.
What am I doing again?
Do you have a comment? Do you have board comment?
No comment.
No
Okay.
comment. Ben?
Just the one thing I'd like to add, and I don't know if it goes here or not, but I'd like to discuss under executive session the BACC situation as well.
Mary?
I'm good.
I did also want to mention, folks might not be aware, but the Ballston Area Clergy Association, it's a network of cooperating churches. They pool their deacon funds and some funds and sort of, there's a church on call each month, and they work with people that are in need of assistance. Whether it be paying bills or, the heat's getting turned off, like emergency sort of help. And the reason why those it happened when I was a teenager, that they formed this, was to be more effective, and also, to be able to help a little bit more specifically, instead of having everybody hit up all the churches and it be small amounts, you could really do some more deep help that way. So if folks are in need, reach out. I don't want to say if I missed anybody, but I know the Presbyterian Church, I believe the Baptist Church still does it. The Methodist Church might be on it. I don't remember I believe the Episcopal Church is on it, but I know our churches are very eager to help people in need. So, please reach out. That's all I got.
Okay, can I get a motion? Yeah, okay. Can I get a motion to enter into executive session to discuss settlement agreement and a law enforcement action, Carolyn?
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Trustee Fontaine, trustee Chris Bush. Do you want me to correct that?
Yeah, it's potential litigation. not
Potential
law
litigation, fine. Even better. Same motion a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There will likely be action taken after this related to that settlement agreement. So we will come back into session. We may want to go into the local history room instead of putting people outside.
I think you're going to be able to hear for those walls.
I don't know, like, just, we should test it someday, actually, see it.
I'm going to guarantee you can hear through those walls.
Did you have your motion? Everybody approve your motion?
Yes, they did.
I'm going backwards.
Maybe they put it up, we get to a point where they can talk. Okay, we are back from executive session. Action to be taken, kind of a motion approving the settlement agreement between Kiewit and the Village of Ballston Spa,
After attorney report.
and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement after attorney review.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fontaine,
A second.
trustee Price Bush, discussion. Because it's a settlement agreement, we will not have discussion or not have public comment concerning it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, nothing else sprung from that. We'll take care of everything else next time. So can I get a motion that the vouchers be audited and the meeting be adjourned at 9:34 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Price Bush.
Second.
Trustee Raymond, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody have a great night.
Goes down.
I'll just wait over here.